Welcome to the Therapy Show podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard. In each episode, I interview a seasoned and knowledgeable talk therapist from the counseling world to glean valuable insights, techniques, and tools that you can apply to your practice and your life. And if you're considering a career in the counseling field or just want to hear about what it's like to be a talk therapist, then this is the podcast for you. In this week's episode, I am joined by David Sturgess, a seasoned therapist with 17 years of experience and a consultant at Wise Practice Consulting. David shares his professional journey from working in psychiatric residential facilities to founding a thriving private practice and now helping other therapists grow their businesses. He offers valuable insights into the transition from clinician to successful business owner, emphasizing the significance of consulting, website optimization, and selecting the appropriate electronic health record system. Plus, David shares about an upcoming workshop he's facilitating with Whitney Owens, designed to aid therapists in either starting or expanding their practices. Set in Marietta, Georgia this April, the workshop promises personal consultations, group learning sessions, and strategic planning for the next 6 to 12 months, tailored for both solo practitioners as well as group practice owners. Whether you're new to private practice or aiming to scale your operation, this episode is packed with practical advice and information on a not-to-miss upcoming workshop for achieving success in the therapy business. But before we hear from David, I want to tell you a little bit about the PsychCraft Network. It's a collaboration of independent podcasters focused on helping people live more meaningful and productive lives. Our network of podcasts provides both self-help and business-building resources to create an impact in the world and change people's lives. And now it is the easiest way to start and grow your podcast. You can get the most out of your podcast by being a part of our network of like-minded podcasters, working together to cross-promote and help bring more exposure for you and your podcast. Whether you already have a podcast or want to start one, the PsychCraft Network can help you grow, scale, and monetize. We can also help with resources that you need for podcast production, like audio editing, show notes, social media, and much more. So if you're ready to start your podcast or take your current podcast to the next level, we can help you in your growth. Let's start the conversation. Apply today. So go ahead and see the link in the show notes to learn more about the PsychCraft Network. And one more thing, if you didn't know, each month, I host a free virtual meetup for therapists and counselors who are thinking of starting a podcast. It's free, fun, and I answer any and all questions about starting and growing your podcast. So come join me in our fun and creative community. Just click the link in the show notes to learn more and come join us at our next Let's Podcast virtual meetup. Well, hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Therapy Show. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard, and I am excited for you guys to meet David Sturgess. Welcome to the show, David. It is great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so will you share with our listeners a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you help?
Absolutely. So I've been a therapist about 17, 18 years, and first kind of probably 10 years, 12 years, I did a couple of stints in psychiatric residential facility work with adolescents. And my kids were starting to get a little bit to that adolescent stage and wanted more time to be in their lives. And so I transitioned to opening private practice over the last few years and have had several therapists working with me over that course of time. And then I've also joined Whitney Owens at Wise Practice Consulting and doing consulting work to help those solo practice owners develop their practice, establish it. And then Whitney does a lot with the group practice owners, that have multiple clinicians and a little bit bigger systems and things of that nature.
Yeah, so I'm going to be a detective here and
Sure.
kind of like just kind of dig in a little bit. But my thought is that so you left, it sounds like agency or hospital work, and you decided to open a private practice. You must have been pretty successful because here you are acting as a consultant nowadays. Is that a good deduction?
Yeah, in the sense of I left the hospital and I needed a consultant. We go to school to be clinicians. We're trained to be clinicians. We're not trained to be small business owners.
Right.
And that's what we are when we open a private practice. We are a small business owner. And so all the taxes, all the legality, all the, you know, community business decisions, we've got to learn how to navigate all of that. And so one thing that helped me is just having somebody that was a few steps ahead of me that had already mapped it out, knew what they were talking about. And one thing with Whitney that was so helpful is she had that established practice. You know, there were things that it was demonstrated that she had already done, and so to not have to recreate the wheel, it allowed me to know, you know, where I needed to prioritize my time, my money, that return on investment. Um, and so as you kind of develop that, it's allowed my practice to be something that I've grown in certain seasons. And then, you know, with COVID and things of that, we had to adapt a little bit. But we still, you know, maintained service and seeing clients. And I would kind of go back to that word success, right? People measure that differently. Is that financial success or is that flexibility of time? And the flexibility of time is what I kind of define for myself, you know, where I can be at my kids' games or just take a day off of work
Right. Yes.
to go on the weekend trip. And so being careful how we use success, some folks do have that more time focus, and we have to make money to keep our doors open and provide for our families too. So that certainly is an element of it.
Yeah, I love that. So I think it's first you got to define your success. What does success mean for you? And then, backtrack how you're gonna reach that success. So
Yeah.
you went from the hospital to hiring a consultant, which you said was Whitney was your consultant. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you opened your private practice. And then were you a go ahead, I'm sorry.
I had it on the side of the hospital for like the
Okay.
last year.
Okay.
So in talking with my wife, we felt that was a bit safer,
Sure.
you know, to kind of begin building it up. So it started out as one night a week, and then it
Mhm.
went to two nights a week, you know, and then it was a point of, okay, if I'm going to do this, we need to go one way or the other, you know, shut it down, close it up, or leave the hospital and replace that income.
Gotcha. That's a big decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big decision. And okay. So thank you for that background. So do you now have a group practice?
Right now I have one other contractor that
Okay.
works for me.
Okay.
In the last few years, I've had a total of four with
Okay.
us.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, because you were saying we and clients, and so I wanted to make sure I understood the context of where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I know that we wanted to talk today about if you are thinking about starting a private practice, a solo private practice, or like maybe some already have a solo private practice like you did in the beginning, where it's 1 to 2 nights a week and you want to really take it to the next level. Like, what are the steps and where should you be putting your money to invest in getting to your next definition of success, I guess? So, what are the things that we need to know? Where should we put our money as solo practitioners to get that going?
Yeah. One thing we teach are kind of top three things: consulting, website, and your EHR. Those three things really set the stage for how you make decisions and what comes next. And you know, very similar to all of our subscriptions with YouTube Music or iTunes, you know, your Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Plus, right? Well, we can nickel and dime all of those things, and it's $10 here, it's $20 here. And by the end of the month, we're several $100s into a bunch of stuff we don't ever use. And private practice can be that way as well when it comes to all these flashy apps and softwares and things of that nature. And it's not that they are bad, you know, it's not that they don't work. It's do we need it?
Mhm.
And and I think one of the wise aspects of consulting is we don't have to waste time and money nickel and diamond things that we 6 months later realize there's not a return on investment. I was just talking with a consulting client earlier, and there's a particular website that she subscribes to get referrals. And I asked her, how many referrals do you get? She goes, I don't really get any. Like,
Mhm.
cancel it,
Mhm.
right? Because it's just, it might only be $15 a month, you know, and that's not going to be business altering. But we can take that $15 and put it into SEO, into the website. and things of that nature. And so it's having the consulting relationship with folks that know all of those things that actually, while it's a financial investment for consulting, it's going to save you thousands of dollars on the back end. And so the website, there's a bazillion different, you know, folks out there that do website, and there's a lot of extras with
Mhm.
websites that aren't necessarily important. But with solo folks, to drive that SEO, to find your ideal client and get in front of them, that's where the website SEO is so critical. And you're going to want to put some money into that. It doesn't have to be huge, but you definitely need to know what you're doing,
Yeah.
right? And so again, like a small business owner, we went to school to be therapists, not web designers.
Right.
And so having a relationship with a good one, will A, get it off of your plate so you can see clients and then go have a life. Um,
Right.
but B, it's also a skill that you don't have to spend, your time trying to learn while you're also trying to see clients.
Right. Yes. So important. So in your consulting work, do you help the therapist like create the website or how does that usually work?
So in our Wise Practice community, we have a lot of resources available. And we've got a couple of very reliable, awesome folks that have their own website design and SEO companies.
Hmm.
And so again, relationships as a consultant, we have a lot of relationships with folks that do good work, and you got multiple people in the community, that use them, so the reputation is there, and the ability to help people navigate through that again as a consultant allows them to make that decision, with which web developer SEO person is going to be best for them and their practice.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So the next thing that you mentioned was EHR. I'm really curious to know more about that.
Yeah. So your electronic health record, and there's the simple practice, the therapy notes. I personally use Jane app in my practice,
Mm.
and a lot of a lot of them do the same things, and they have different packages, and solo owner versus group practice. Does it do telehealth? Does it not do telehealth? If you are going to be an insurance-based business model, does it process insurance payments more automatically, versus it have to be very manual, and labor intensive. And then another aspect with choosing an EHR, you want something that is not just reliable for now, but it's going to be something that's going to be there in the future to pull all of your, you know, client data out of an EHR and transition to a different EHR is very, very labor intensive.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and so you want a good EHR that's going to meet the needs that you have and be a place that not just has cool features, but is a place that, you're going to be able to kind of grow into as
Yeah.
well. So scheduling link that you can put on your website,
Hmm.
and they can schedule directly onto your caseload. I
Hmm.
mentioned the insurance processing, if that's something that your business model includes, your self pay business model. All of all the big ones have the credit card processing on file, security
Hmm.
function, diagnosis codes, the billing codes, things
Yeah.
of that nature.
I want to share with you a fabulous offer from Therapy Notes. Have you ever felt swamped by endless paperwork and tangled schedules? Then step into a world of clarity with Therapy Notes. Hailed as the gold standard in electronic health records, Therapy Notes is your beacon in the dynamic realm of mental health care. With their round the clock 7-day live phone support, it's evident why they shine with a dazzling 4.9 out of 5 stars on trustpilot.com and Google. From effortless billing to streamlined scheduling, precise note taking, and state of the art telehealth, Therapy Notes is your all in one solution. And for the prescribers out there, they're ecstatic to introduce ePrescribe. And if you're switching lanes from another EHR, they've got your back. They will seamlessly migrate your demographic data at zero cost, ensuring you hit the ground running. So become part of the 100,000 plus mental health professionals community who've chosen Therapy Notes. And to embark on a 2-month complimentary journey, just tap the link in the show notes or use promo code Lisa at checkout at therapynotes.com. That's promo code Lisa, Lisa, at checkout at therapynotes.com. So dive into the Therapy Notes experience today and see why it's the talk of the town. Navigate with confidence and choose the best. Okay. And if you are going to be private pay and you don't necessarily need the EHR because I know a lot of people who are private pay just kind of create their own system. Is that something that you can help with as well if they don't want to go an EHR direction?
Yes, we can.
Mhm,
Google Workspace is a great platform, and you
mhm,
can create a lot of templates and things of that nature. What you got to watch out for if you don't do an EHR is really how do we manage and protect all of that data,
right.
right?
Right.
And I've run into a few folks that they've got it saved on the external hard drive or the laptop or something of that nature, and it's not backed up in the cloud. And
Hmm.
so if that laptop or that hard drive ever gets stolen or it gets damaged, you've lost records that ethically you needed ethically and legally
Hmm.
you have to keep around for you know quite a few years.
Right.
And so from that encryption standpoint, and sec- the cloud-based security, EHRs are a very um, secure and more simple way. While Google Space is one example of creating templates and a filing system in terms of the drive, it is also kind of labor intensive, and you got to make sure that you have a very disciplined, organized system
Hmm.
that you're going to be able to find what you need if and when you need it.
Right. Yeah, no, I understand. That
Yeah.
makes sense. I know like with like Therapy Notes, it's very effortless. It's very I say effortless. It's not no, let me take that back. It's not effortless because you have to, of course, specialize it to what you're doing, but it's like it's seamless. You can
Yes.
schedule, you can do telehealth on there, you can put your forms in there. It's like does a flow for you. And all EHRs like you said are going to have the depending on what you want and how big your practice is and what your needs are, but my guess is if you hire a consultant like you, then you get into the consulting group and it's like it's all laid out for you and you can you're saving yourself time
Yeah.
where you guys have it all like laid out. Like if you have this, and this is what we recommend. If you have this is what we recommend. And that's what you mean when you say you save yourself a lot of time and energy and you just having a consultant can be a wonderful thing. Just
Yeah.
get all of that included. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know a lot of therapists, they when they get started, of course, there's like the usual like networking and referrals. And a lot of people want to jump onto social media and think that that's the way that they can get their clients. But I believe it's more the networking and the referrals and being smart with your SEO and possibly even running some Google ads before you try to really go to social media to fill your caseload. I just seems like it's so hit or miss with social media.
Yes, social media is a way to connect with other therapists,
Hmm.
and there's a lot of good social media groups for therapists, from a referral standpoint or resource standpoint. Folks don't go to social media to find a therapist. We do recommend having business social media pages.
Hmm.
My practice, Foundry Counseling, has business social media, and we'll post different things for holidays or different themed messages.
Hmm.
If folks blog, to send blogs out via social media, it can certainly be a big piece of your marketing. I'm glad you brought up Google Ads,
Hmm.
because if you don't have your website set up properly, that is going to be a way that you are going to lose hundreds and maybe even thousands of dollars, because if somebody clicks on that ad, you've paid for that click. That does not mean that it's going to convert.
Right.
And if they click and it sends them to a website that's not ready for that, in terms of collecting the information and converting them into a paying client,
Hmm.
a Google ad is very, very expensive and useless. So
Right.
again, phenomenal way of creating a referral stream. And people grow seven-figure practices using things like Google Ads. So
Mhm.
there's certainly a place for it, but we got to make sure that website is set up properly and you've got the system funnel, so to speak, in place to use things like Google Ads. And even on the social media side, if one of your family members or friends follows you and they share your post and their neighbor clicks on your website to become your client, right? There's a way you're going to get a referral out of that, and you still have to have it all organized for that website to be your kind of landing place
Mhm.
for potential clients, irregardless of Google My Business, social media,
Right.
Google Ad. Um, and then from a networking referral standpoint, who is your ideal, client? Where
Mhm.
are they? Right? I do a lot of work with responders. And so it's not so much connecting with police chiefs or fire chiefs, but they have peer support teams in
Mhm.
police and fire departments, and those are trained police and firefighters that are serving as peer support
Mhm.
to their colleagues. So
Right.
if there's a nasty car wreck, or a really bad traumatic call, peer support team chaplains come out and support those police and firefighters. Those are the folks that I need to connect with, not
Smart.
not the chiefs, right?
Right. Right.
Um, some folks have faith-based work, and so having a relationship with the clergy, because there's a lot of stigma in the responder community. There's a lot of stigma in church communities. And so having a relationship with those key individuals is going to make them more likely to refer to you
Mhm.
as opposed to just you sending an email or a
Right.
postcard, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of an additional way of marketing, but you're going to spend a little bit more time over weeks and months developing a relationship where they kind of remember you when
Yeah.
the situation's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. It makes a lot of sense. So even if you aren't at a place yet where you have started that solo private practice, it's always a good idea to be out and about and going to the networking events and be, like knowing, even if you're not sure what your ideal client is, your
Right?
niche is, yeah, just get a sense and go out there and start talking to people. I think that's really wise because at the end of the day, it's all about know, like, and trust. And if
Yes.
you've built that with somebody, then they're, chances are, even if they don't become your client, they
Right.
might reach out to you and ask for a referral, and then, but you might get a referral from them at another point. So it all, as I like to say, can all bless you. You just got to be open
Yes.
to the opportunity of connecting and networking. So,
Yeah.
yes, this has been great. What other areas would you suggest?
Um, in terms of marketing, that return on investment, knowing your numbers, so
Mm,
those key performance indicators, those
hmm
KPIs, that also has to do financially.
hmm
And so whether it's a QuickBooks or some other type of accounting budgeting software, we really try to help people understand where is that money going. And we've got a relationship with Julie Ayers at Green Oak Accounting, and she wrote the book Profit First for Therapists. And Mike Michalowicz did a book called Profit First for more of a generalized business. Um, but to know where your money is going and where is it coming from, that helps you make those decisions as well, and it can help prioritize what do we invest in when it comes to website and marketing, right? Is it time to do Google Ads yet, or do we need to spend more money on the SEO side of things? Can we go and grab Chick-fil-A for that church staff meeting and come by and introduce ourselves and feed everybody because they'll remember you when you bring them food?
hmm
Um, you
Right.
know, uh, do I need to bring more money home for my family? And how much every month do I have left over to be able to do that?
Yeah.
So that's certainly, another area of consulting that we find a lot of people they're not really aware of how much money they actually do have
Mm,
because it's just going everywhere, as opposed to the same way we would have a treatment plan for our clients.
yeah.
We got to have a treatment plan for our money.
Yeah.
and know where it's going so that we can be a good steward of it.
Right. Okay. Cool. And so there's an upcoming event in April that
Yes.
you and Whitney are facilitating. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so my office is actually hosting it in Marietta, Georgia. It is April 11th through the 13th, and we'll have information in the show notes, I believe, in
Yep.
relation to this, where you can reserve a spot. I think we have about 5 spots left, so folks are going to want to jump on that. But there is a hotel a couple blocks down the street that you can reserve a room. That's separate from the retreat registration. But we'll have 2.5 days of one-on-one consulting with Whitney and I. So having some of that one-on-one time, but also as a group, being able to go over different things that folks are dealing with and being able to kind of learn from each other. So we've got that kind of connection aspect going on with other faith-based groups and
Mhm.
practices. And then I think one thing that I always enjoy is strategizing for that next to 6, 12 months, right? What is my plan now that I've had some time away from my office and home, and I've been able to kind of just catch my breath? I've kind of done an assessment of what's going on. And now, what am I specifically going to be able to go and execute over those 6 to 12 months to get where I want to be? I think we go to a lot of conferences, a lot of retreats, and we kind of go, oh, I'll get back to those notes that I took so
Hmm.
feverishly in all the sessions, and we never look at those notes ever again. And so we try to make sure that we're planning for actual executable goals when we leave. And then we're going to have a lot of fun at restaurants. Whitney wants to do some karaoke, so
Of course.
she might go do that.
She by herself. That's
I'll
funny.
go, but I don't know if I'm going to karaoke.
We can just see her now dancing
Yeah,
or karaoke. That's
yeah.
funny. So is this retreat or workshop, 2-day workshop, is it for someone who's just getting started, or I mean, who should come to this, I guess?
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of folks that are doing actual, building of their practices,
Okay.
right? So you don't necessarily have to be a group practice owner. And at the same time, your solo folks are probably going to do really well with consulting like one-on-one with me. And we've
Okay.
got different consulting packages for that. And so for these group practice owners that are at just a different stage, and so the struggles and goals are little bit different, it's going to be more group focused than that sole private practice owner that's just operating by themselves. And, they're welcome to come as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I think also if you're a sole practice owner, but you're wanting to grow into a group, you could probably still benefit, might just not be so specific to where you are.
I gotcha. Okay. So it sounds like if you're the least bit curious, it would be a good idea to go ahead and fill out the information form, because I believe that you guys are having a call with anybody. Is that right? Before they commit to coming, you kind of interview, just make sure they're a fit.
Yeah, so we got those
Okay.
5 spots left,
Hmm.
and we do want to make sure it's a good fit. We also, I believe this will be in the show notes as well. If folks are wanting to do any one-on-one consulting with Whitney or myself, then we certainly can do a quick follow-up chat and just make sure that they're getting the right service for them as opposed to just taking something that comes to them.
Yeah. So it sounds like no matter what, if you're the least bit interested in doing some type of consultation, then head on over to the websites that'll be in the show notes and just kind of see what is available depending on where you are and where you want to go.
Yeah.
And how you define success, you will find what you need. So this has just been great. Is there anything else that you want our listeners to know today about this?
Well, not only do we have that retreat, I think I referenced the Wise Practice community, and it is a community that we have for folks that are soul practice, group practice owners that are all faith based. And
Okay.
so every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we have some sort of event. The first, second, third, fourth of each month.
Mhm.
And so they're kind of themed. So that first Wednesday is Wise Teaching. And then the second Wednesday is wise advice. The third Wednesday is wise questions, and it's just an open 1 hour with Whitney and or myself, and it's Q&A. It's group practice owners just bringing different questions. And then the fourth one is wise work, and so it's those just a timeout that we can all share together to just hammer out some tasks for the hour and make a little traction. And then we also have small groups that are a part of this community, and those meet every first and third Mondays of the month. And those are split up into small groups based on your practice size. And we've got from solo brand new folks all the way up to group practices that have 10 plus clinicians.
Okay.
So there's really a great place for everybody at every stage within the community, and a lot of great speakers, a lot of great resources. And then we've got a summit coming up in the fall as well, and so you get a lot of great information about all of that and discounts, things of that
Sweet.
nature.
All right. Well, you guys, I mean, I am just blown away by what Whitney has created in the past couple of years. And I love to see that it's growing because she's incredible and she has found some great people to lock arms with, like you. And, I could just only imagine how you're helping so many therapists out there, not only reach their level of success, but being able to make an impact and help the people that they want to help, the reason why they got into this field. So gosh, David, thank you so much for being here. It's been great. And
Absolutely.
we'll put all the links in the show notes, you guys. So just click in the show notes and learn more about David, about the retreat or the workshop coming up, the Wise Practice community, and then of course David's consulting that he does. Did I miss anything?
No.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Please note that the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Always consult with your therapist, doctor, or physician before implementing any suggestions from the show. The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is edited and engineered by Chelsea Weaver. If you're looking to start a podcast or ready to take the editing off of your plate, be sure to visit chelseaweaverpodcasting.com. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine.
Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover more fantastic content.
And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.